So I've been wondering lately where all of these He Man Woman Hater Club members have come from. I started looking and I started really wondering. I was like, wow, this some of this stuff is becoming a bit concerning to me. So, there's been a lot of guys that are starting up blogs and podcasts. And I think a lot of them have some of the misdirected conversation pieces that go along with having said blogs and such. I think a lot of people sort of misconstrue having confidence and being downright mean. But this manosphere genre that's taken place and has been going, actually, it's been going on for a lot longer than people know, but it's sort of concerning to me. Yeah, I'm actually a lot more. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Tina. You guys, I'm a little concerned. I know that people don't really want to deal with the whole, feminist movement. There's a lot of women who don't agree with the feminist movement. I mean, because, a lot of us, we like the door to be opened. You know, we like to take care of the husband and the kids. There's some of us who are like that. But unfortunately, we're all sort of being lumped into the exact same pile with the chicks who really don't want to do those things. Moreover, I think that the manosphere situation is leading men in a dangerous path, in a dangerous direction. Today, we're going to look at a few of those directions that they're heading in. Today, we're going to look at some of the whole basis of the opposite of the other end of the spectrum. Because you've got the feminist side, you've got the center, which very rarely people today, especially all of the millennials, um, have sort of passed the center. They're either on one end or the other. So you got the manosphere, which I like to again call the He-Man Woman Haters Club. And then you've got the feminists, which is the Shira Man Hating Club. And somewhere along the middle, we've all sort of missed it. If you guys don't know, you need to maybe start to check it out online. I mean, just go on there and check it out. And you'll see that the manosphere is a dangerous place. I got to have something to prove it. So let's just go into this. And we got a couple of videos. I think what I want to do is start here to answer the question. You know that I got to give you the full screen. And you know that I got to pot it up just a little for you. But I think today is pretty decent size because I'm on the complete side with Microsoft today. So I'm not using any of the other side. I'm just using Microsoft Edge today. So here we go, you guys. I hope you're ready. What is the manosphere and why is it a concern? The Mantrap Research Project at Lancaster University explores the misogynistic or the misogynist and the anti-feminist language found in male-dominated communities on various social media platforms. PhD candidate at the date of this paper or this article, Jessica Aston, describes the impact of these communities on young people. What is the manosphere? Even someone today just asked in our chat, what is that? The manosphere is a network of online men community that promote anti-feminist and sexist beliefs, blaming women and feminists for all sorts of problems in society. Many of these communities encourage resentment or even hatred toward women and girls, and there are four main groups. However, even though you're going to see four main groups, there is another story. And I sort of want to maybe piggyback on that one because it goes a great deal deeper than just four. But I tell you what we'll do, just for time and context, we'll go ahead and look at these four, and then we'll omit them when we get to the other story, so that way you can sort of see what I mean. Men's rights activists, or the MRAs, that's this particular group that they're talking about first. Those are the advocate political changes. Those advocate political changes that will benefit men. However, much of their activism consists of harassment, abuse toward feminists and other female public figures. So much for winning friends and gaining all types of supporters. The next one is men going their own way, or MGTOW, MGTOW. They argue that women are so toxic that men should avoid them altogether. Some MGTOW will date women, but avoid anything serious like getting married, while others won't even be friends with women. The next one is considered the PUAs. These are the organizations, this particular group of folks teach men seduction strategies so that they can be more successful in attracting women. Many of these techniques involve mistreating women, such as insulting them, negging, or disregarding consent. Here's the one that is really, really, I think, the most dangerous, and it's the involuntary celibates, or incels. Well, they believe that they're entitled to a relationship with a woman but are incapable of finding a partner. Multiple acts of extreme violence and even murder have been attributed to this particular group. How are young people being influenced? Well, a 2020 Hope Not Hate report demonstrated that the manosphere influences young people's beliefs about feminism, and boys are repeating manosphere talking points in school and even harassing female teachers. The report found that 50% of young people aged 16 to 24 believe feminism makes it more difficult for men to succeed. Owen Jones, the head of education and training at Hope, Not Hate, says that gender equality is the most difficult subject to teach. Many students don't believe sexism is a problem, and when teaching the subject, there is an aggressive backlash from male students who not only deny the issue, but try to silence any notion of female empowerment or critique male culture. This can make it difficult to have a productive conversation about important issues like sexism or gender stereotypes in the classroom. So, how do young people find the manosphere? Well, many manosphere groups host their own websites and have seen increased traffic, with some seeing growth from thousands to millions of users. However, these groups can also be found on popular social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, in particular, is the home of many of the manosphere communities. Although the most popular MGTOW and Incel subreddits have recently been banned. Young people may also find the manosphere via YouTube, as the Watch Next algorithm has been known to recommend increasingly sexist and anti feminist content in order to keep users engaged. TikTok may be another avenue, as the MGTOW and the pickup artist communities, in particular, are becoming more prevalent. But why is it disturbing to me, you may ask? Why, Felicia, does it disturb you? Well, because just recently I've noticed an increase of gentlemen who are very, what I would like to consider, socially awkward. And it's their awkwardness that causes them to be a little dangerous. Let me explain. When you consider somebody that has this sort of awkwardness to them, and they are now empowered by organizations or groups that are like these, that make men feel like that it's okay to vocalize this hate and this disdain toward women. It puts the socially awkward young man in a very, very precarious place. It puts him right in the middle of what could be considered very um, terroristic in nature. Let me explain to you why I say this. There was a gentleman who really was very awkward, and he really felt as if the women needed to be put in their places. His social awkwardness was such that he did not believe that women should be able to talk or say anything around men, because now he's got this information about the manosphere. And now that he is this red pill guy, he's all for it. He's awake. Now he's willing to meet you at your front door. He's willing to say whatever he's got to say to make you do what he wants you to do. Why? Because he's been empowered. This is a real thing. Another thing is, I am going to now show you exactly why some of these groups are not so safe. The first story that we're going to take a look at is one that came from ABC, and it was a BBC story. So we're actually using this particular story for us to have commentary and review. So there is no copyright infringement intended at all. As a matter of fact, down below inside of our description, you will find the actual page, the actual channel, and a link in the description to take you directly to that channel. So that way, you will be able to pull it up and see it on your own. And we are using this information and the content specifically for review and commentary purposes only. It is from ABC in conjunction with the BBC. And so here we go. There we are. I think this one's it. Let me get past this commercial. So I'm going to turn that off, and we're going to go past the commercial until I can skip it. And then when I'm able to skip it, that's what we're going to do. Skip ads. There we are. Undo this one. And let's go back just a smidge and undo
Tomorrow
there.
is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have.
I hope you guys can hear it.
Soon after posting this video to YouTube, Elliot Rodger would go on a shooting spree in the California city of Santa Barbara, killing 6 and injuring many others.
Shot fired.
The attack, a form of revenge by an angry young man, one who was hellbent on blaming women for his own personal loneliness.
The girls are not sexually attracted to me. There's a major problem with that. A major problem. That's a problem that I intend to rectify.
More and more male hatred against women is rising up through the hidden crevices of online forums and entering real life. Allegedly, the inspiration behind the mass attacks in Santa Barbara, Toronto, and Tallahassee, Florida. And experts say one of the chief incubators of this violent misogyny is a subculture of men and some women who call themselves incels or involuntary celibates. They mainly gather in online forums, finding common ground in their shared loneliness, hatred of themselves, and anger toward the
I'm going to break in here for a second because they're involuntary celibate. So that means that they are what they considered incels. And in my day, those were just very awkward young men. Maybe we even considered them late bloomers. Well, unfortunately, now with the empowerment of all of this stuff and all of these things that they're talking to, it's really confusing and leading a lot of men astray, young men astray. There used to be days where, there would be the older brother or the bigger guy that would come up and show the dude how to, rap to the chicks. Steve Willis, hey, love you. I just saw you. Rap to the chicks and want to say hello to them and teach them how to, talk to the girls. Well, now they're considering them involuntarily celibate, which means he's not getting any, right? And if he's not getting any, that's one part of the frustration. Okay, let's be honest. This is an adult show. Okay. And then another piece of it is that now he's hearing these types of stories about how men should lead and women should submit and women should do this and women should do that. This is a real thing going on right now. And especially in the younger millennial community where there are more Black guys that are believing this. They have nothing to attribute, nothing to add to the game. They financially have not arisen to be able to even take care of themselves, let alone take care of somebody else. Or it's the other end of the spectrum. A lot of the guys have gotten involved in tech. And so a lot of cats that are in tech right now are very brilliant. They're good at what they do. They get out of school. They have very good jobs. Some of them, making entry level 100 and some odd thousand, or maybe 85 to 100,000 as a, 21-year-old guy. That's a lot of money. And so they believe that now that they're hearing all these other people talk about how money should lead the guy to be able to have choices, it's turning a lot of young guys very cuckoo because they're misconstruing the money for emotional wealth or emotional health. They're misconstruing that money that they're making as a method to say, I can choose any woman I want. I've got a choice. And sweetie, you do have a choice. But the portion that's missing is the emotional intelligence, the ability to date, and the understanding of how you are to court a woman. These are some unhealthy cats. It's not about sex outside of marriage, okay? And it's not a Christian conversation, Mike. Unfortunately, this is something that's happening right now. And whether your youngsters are Christians or whether your youngsters are not, or whether you got 18-year-old boys and 19-year-old boys who are going to school, making good money when they get out because they are really good at the technical field that they're in. This is a danger that's going on right now. And it can land young men and women in directions that they do not want to go into if we as parents and grandparents are not privy to what's really going on right now in the streets with the children where our loved ones are. See, we can live in a box. We can live in a cocoon, and sometimes there's safety in that cocoon. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes there's real safety inside that box. But if the youth of today that you love, that you care for, okay, because we don't want to scare any of the youth away, right? We want those that we have raised to be close and near to us, right? If you're really concerned about the ones that are out there in these streets that are dealing with what's going on right now today, this is for us to open up our peepers. That's the reason why we really need to pay very close attention to what's going on in this particular arena. Having said that, we're going to continue with this video because we've got one more video as well as several other stories. So let's continue.
Opposite sex.
Women are just evil. You know what I'm saying? Women are evil. Women are cruel. Women are mean.
The group name that you've probably never heard of before, incels or involuntary celibate.
Now, a new BBC documentary, Inside the Secret World of Incels, presents a never-before-seen look at this community online and off.
I think it's fair to say a lot of people have not heard of the term incels and have not heard about the incel community. I think it's certainly something that more people should know about because there is a risk of violence from this community.
When the incel movement first began online in the late 90s, it was seen by many as a comforting resource, a place to belong for those who had no sense of belonging.
Whenever I see couples walking about, I'm happy for them, but at the same time, I'm also just like, oh man, I am so alone. It hurts a little bit.
Nobel Prize-winning research uncovers a simple way to
Forums can definitely be, very supportive. Having an online community to fall back on or to go to is definitely a source of comfort.
It's a space that Jack Peterson sought out as a struggling teenager.
I think what attracts men to the incel communities is just feeling like they have no other place to go. If they're rejected by women, if they're rejected by even men, the incel community is a place for them to congregate and actually find people to talk to for once, rather than just stay in isolation.
It was a world where he could freely post this video.
No matter what I do, no matter where I go, nobody values my contributions, nobody respects me.
Peterson eventually became a moderator for one of the incel forums. He says violent talk and threats were not tolerated.
If someone crossed a line into threatening what seems like real violence, they'll be banned from the website. I know on numerous occasions there would be communication with the FBI to make sure that nothing actually crosses into reality, that it just stays a post on an image board or on a website.
But some say Rogers' attack in 2014 marked a shift from a community that lived online to one that for some erupted into violence in reality.
Before Elliot Rodger, there were a number of online misogynistic communities operating. But Elliot Rodger really flips the switch from a community that is angry online operating within the digital space to a community that has the potential to carry out real acts of violence.
And this is the reason why I am bringing this to your attention, because just recently, while on a panel, I was addressed by an individual that was like this. And I tell you, you know, a lot of times we are so encapsulated in our own little worlds that we honestly believe, hey, Black Beauty, that we honestly believe that there are no issues that could ever touch us like this. But I want to tell you something. Even though there are a lot of people who may question whether or not this thing is real or it really exists, or, you know, is it something to prevent us from being involved with religion or being involved with God, or is it something else that's being caught up out there to throw us off of the track? Here's what it is. Here's what it is. It's a reality. Yes, Black Beauty, most assuredly. It is a reality that there are a lot of young men that are out there hurting. And that if we don't realize that these young men are hurting, then we are going to most assuredly be on the other end in one facet or another of their fury. We have got to reach out into the communities that we are in instead of just worrying about us four and no more. And when we see these individuals, embrace them and pull them and sit them down and talk to them. Because unfortunately, the young brother that used to have the older gentleman in the community to give him real solid advice and tell him, man, it's okay. It's going to take some time. Well, you're going to find the right young lady. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. And talk to him and embrace him. Those cats don't exist anymore. Moreover, if they do exist, they are not getting the positive feedback when they do sit down and talk to those young brothers. And you know why? Because there's a bevy of other cats out there that will do one of two things. They will embrace them and then they will empower them and tell them they're absolutely right, hate the woman, or they will talk about the guy, which enrages him even more. So he has nowhere to go. Now, people may not believe that this is real. And people may not believe that young men like this can be stopped if they have the right people intervening in their lives, or you can be on the other end of one of these cats, whether he's aiming at you or the chick that's standing in front of you, whether he's aiming at you or the chick that's standing in front of you and you just so happen to get it. We need to step out of these Christian boxes and out of these belief system boxes and help those that are around us. That's the reason why I'm pulling this topic up, because if you ain't heard about it yet, you sure enough will after this. Let's finish listening to the rest of this portion of the commentary.
His blind rage targeting strangers, like promising student Katie Cooper. Her parents left devastated.
He attempted to get into one of the sorority houses with a tremendous amount of ammunition. Instead, out of frustration, he got in his car, drove around the corner, and saw my daughter. My daughter paid the price. So we like to believe that that wrong place, wrong time scenario helped save 50, 60 girls' lives. So, you know, kind of a silver lining. And, you know, when you're in our position, you look for these, you know, wherever you can.
Lightsabers are finally a reality, and you can own one.
Last year, 2 alleged copycats. In April in Toronto, a van mowed down pedestrians, killing 10 people. And then in November, a shooting at a Tallahassee yoga studio would leave 2 people dead. Both of the attackers allegedly posted online that they sympathized with Roger. NIGHTLINE is choosing not to show you more of Roger's videos or the memes that now circulate praising him, but it's clear he's gained an infamy within these forums. Shortly after the Toronto attack, Peterson decided to leave the community altogether, announcing his departure on YouTube.
I asked the owner of Incels.me to permanently ban my account.
I left after the Toronto attack because I didn't want to be a part of a community that supports violence, even if it's in a joking way.
But Peterson says that most incels are not violent, and that within the incel community itself, Elliot Rodger isn't taken seriously.
There's a lot of memes about him. People think he's perceived as some sort of a hero figure, but I think he's more kind of just made fun of.
Adam Jessel, the executive producer of Inside the Secret World of Incels, has been studying the incel community for years.
In terms of the number of people that are at risk of actually carrying out violence against women or carrying out some kind of physical harassment of women, that is a very small number. In the case of, violence and mass murder, you only really need one person to move from, online hatred to real world violence.
Although not the norm, his film does seem to uncover disturbing instances of simmering anger toward women manifesting in real world actions.
I'm the catfish man. I catfish females. I'm a legend in the community. I'm a hero.
Catfish Man, whose full face is never shown, humiliates women on camera as a way to seek revenge.
Ew, he's so fat. Look at that.
The women, who he says believe they're there to meet a model from online for a date, are instead met with verbal harassment and intimidation.
Got catfish. It's kind of like a victory for the incel community, basically. So this is basically like my retribution in a sense. All those girls that treated me like.
Catfish Man's behavior was, very alarming and very distressing. On the one hand, we wanted to show people that this stuff is going on, this stuff is out there. On the other hand, we were conscious that we were giving airtime to this guy.
The Anti-Defamation League is one organization that's been tracking incel communities and identified them as an emerging domestic terror threat.
It operates in some of the same ways that we see other extremist movements operate.
They say law enforcement and community cooperation is key to monitoring violent content.
Tips have always been helpful for law enforcement when somebody might be sort of straying. The combination of law enforcement, tech industry responsibility, and everyday people knowing that they have a stake in this, hopefully we can keep this down.
As for Katie's parents, they hope her senseless death teaches our society to be more vigilant.
Our daughter died because some individual couldn't cope. Just couldn't cope. That's why she's dead.
And that is the purpose for this communication this morning. The purpose for us talking about this is not for us to try to close our heads off to the fact that this stuff exists. It's not to figure out what the purpose is and why they did it and, why these people are creating these things. Listen, if you are supposed to be the salt of the earth and we are the salt of the earth, then we're supposed to add some savor to the pot, which means we're not here to pick out, the carrots and the tomatoes. We're not here to do that. What we're here to do today is to talk about the fact that, maybe mom missed it. Maybe dad missed it. Maybe the big brother missed it. And so if you see it, you need to understand what it is. But if I don't, or somebody else does not illuminate your eyesight to exactly what's going on out there and what some of these young men and women are facing, then you could quite easily miss it, especially if we're looking for help to look another kind of way. Okay? What we all need to realize is that we have to make ourselves the committee of one. We got to make ourselves the committee of one. If somebody is in your circle, in your sphere, it don't matter what their mama did, daddy didn't do. You were earshots of it. You heard it and you saw it. It's time for you to take the time to take advantage of the opportunity to share truth to these young people. Because whether we believe it or not, there are entities and organizations that are building up that are like this to suck the mindset in, or to suck those young individuals in. Those individuals who feel as if they have no hope, who feel as if nobody wants them, who feels that once they get their money, once they graduate from school, once they get their, credentials, once they're degreed and their accreditation is now standing in the face of society, they're going to be accepted by women. They're going to be considered awesome to their peers. Once that doesn't happen, then what do you do when you had hope and now it's not only deferred, but it's now denied? Huh? I'm asking a question. See, the problem is that the body of believers stick our heads in the sand so much. We make everything about, oh, God, this, that, God, that, and the Bible. We make everything about that. But these folks that are hurting, they're not in that. You need to live that life. Now, y'all already know I ain't no chump. I'll let you have it. You come at me the wrong way, I'm going to come at you the same way, because that's just who I am. Everybody here that follows me know how I am. Okay, y'all know Ronnie and Lee are the nice, sweet ones who will give you all the scripture, and they will be who they need to be when they got to advance. Me, you know, I'm going to let you know. Okay? And so with all love and all sincerity, I want to just let you know that we have got to go on ahead and be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. We have to know how to behave in all situations and circumstances. But I'm telling you right now today, you got somebody in your family that you know like this. Sorry about the noise. I'm putting this throat lozenge in my mouth. Or should I? I don't know. Maybe I should drink tea instead. Or maybe my water. But you know some people that are in this situation, and you just think he's just a little unique. You just think he's a little awkward. You just think he's a little late bloomer. You just think, oh, he's just to himself. You just say, oh, he always used to just play the games. That's what he used to. Oh, he can beat any game. Oh, he's now designing games. Now he's just always liked the little dark humor. Oh, he's always liked the little dark television shows. Oh, he's okay. Oh, she's all right. Oh, she's normal. Oh, she's a late bloomer. She doesn't have a boyfriend yet. Oh, she's not into all of that. And then all of a sudden they snap. And then you're going to be like, well, what just happened? Oh, Lord Jesus, you can't do all of that. Because these folks are not into that, but they're your loved ones. So now what you're going to do is in your face. These are your loved ones. You know they're not into Jesus. You know they're not into God, but they're your loved ones, and you love them, and you're interceding for them, and you're calling out their name when you're interceding. I'm just here to give you the news that this right here is out there for them. What you going to do? He may have had a terrible mother. He may have had a mother who was never taught how to be a mama. And now her son is awkward. But he's awkward, and he's intelligent, and he's bright, and he's got knowledge that abounds. And he is wiser and weaker. And the word that you so eloquently follow told you that they were going to be wiser and weaker in those days. The word declares. Y'all already know. I got my degree. I'm credentialed with the Bible. Y'all already know that. Went to school, studied the Bible, licensed, ordained. Y'all already know that about me. So I'm not here to say that the Bible is not the way. What I'm here to say is if you got that kind of wisdom, you already know what time it is. So let's act like it. And let's get out here in the highways and byways. Let's look at the ones who we love in our families, the nieces and the nephews, and shut this up sometime and learn to listen to them. Because there's some kids out here that's hurting. This video that we just got through seeing was a while back. Some of the stories that we're reading today were a while back. This didn't just happen. A lot of the things that are going on within our community have been planned for ages. And a lot of the things that we are seeing right now that are being portrayed and played out were practiced quietly under the cover of night. Were practiced quietly when you just gave them that brand new tablet. They were practiced quietly when you gave them that new game. They were practiced quietly when you didn't have to give them the cartridge anymore. All you had to do was give them a few V-Bucks. That's all you had to do. Give them a few V-Bucks. Give them a couple of dollars and let them just go. You ain't got to do nothing now. So let's go on to the next story. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys the purpose for me saying what I am saying today, because just like Black Beauty said, there's a lot that's going on. I'm going to go on ahead and pull up Black Beauty's comment again. Okay. She said, here it is. And the black incels steady followed the white. It's not even a color issue. It's just emotional damage and bad socialization. Bad socialization. You know why? Because the mama ain't where she's supposed to be. The daddy is no longer there for whatever the reason. And that's why I am appealing to the community at large. Because we already know that there is some brokenness. We already know that there are broken patterns. We already know that the chain has been damaged and it's been severed. We already understand that there are moms and dads who are not there. What I'm telling you is save somebody. Help them. Help the young man. Help the young lady. Help them. Involuntarily celibate, that's straight up, they're coming up with all kinds of words. You just ain't getting none. And no, don't nobody ask me if I am condoning sex outside of marriage. They doing it outside of marriage. We got to wake up. They doing it outside of marriage. Didn't you? Some of y'all did it outside of marriage. And then we arrive, and once we arrive, we act like we ain't never did it outside of marriage. So they shouldn't be doing it outside of marriage. What is restraining them? The restrainer is about to be completely removed. Most of these young folks don't know nothing about restraint. Right now, it's do as thou will. But are you going to let them suffer because they're not following your line? Boy, oh boy, I hope not. Yah forbid. Let's go on ahead and get in some more here. We're going to look at some more stories, and then I got another video. And the video is the Mac Daddy, the Godfather himself. We're going to look at Kevin Samuels today. Okay, because a lot of people misunderstood Kevin Samuels to the 10th degree. Okay, times just like infinity and beyond. They misunderstood this man. And there are a lot of Black people that are right now, especially young men, who believe that what he was saying was something totally different. Do you know that even though my grandsons are homeschooled, that I had them listening to Kevin Samuels before he got famous with all the women, for those of you who know who he is? Why? Because he was talking real. And I'm a grandmother raising Black boys. I can't relate, and I'm not going to apologize that I can't relate to other things. All I can do is relate to the love and the kindness that I have for other people, to the love that I have for people. That's all I can relate to. I can't relate to nobody else's plight. And I'm never going to ever sit here and pretend like I can. But what I can do is I got some eyes, and I can have some empathy, and I can have some sympathy, and I can love people enough to say, hey, if you near some of these folks, you might need to step out and help. That's what you might need to do. Here we go. Here we go. Here's a brief guide. Here's a brief guide. Welcome to the Manosphere, a brief guide to the controversial men's rights movement. So I'm going to give you guys the entire screen. I'm going to turn it up just a bit for you in case you can see it a little, so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, right about there. All right, there. The men's rights movement, or the MRM, is a loose-knit network of groups and activists, the MRAs, who believe that men are an oppressed class. Most adherents consider Warren Farrell to be an intellectual father of men's rights. Now, this goes in line with what I believe Mike was saying, Mike Garver. I'm not sure if he's still, Mike McGarver is still here or not, but I think that's what he was saying. He was talking about what making men believe that they are an oppressed class, who believe that men are an oppressed class. All right. Then we're going to go into the Father's Manifesto, which is an early MRM website that combined calls for paternal custody rights with claims that Blacks should be exiled and Catholic priests were sexually abusing children as a part of a plot to spreading AIDS. So do you see, some of these thought processes have very unique beginnings and very unique dealings. Okay? All right? So let's go on to the next one. As we can see here on our screen, A Voice for Men, that was founded back in 2009 by truck driver Paul Elam to expose misandry on all levels. The site, now a hub of the movement, is aimed at those turned off by the fringe politics of other men's rights forums. Register her.com. Get a load of this one. Get a load of this one. Well, it's an offshoot of a Voice for Men, an offender registry purporting to track female murderers and rapists, as well as women who make false rape accusations. National Coalition for Men is another organization, which is a nonprofit that raises awareness about the ways sex discrimination affects men and boys, and its leaders have filed lawsuits challenging registration for the draft and seeking to defund shelters for battered women. I'm coming on the screen because I want to ask a question. Do you see how all of this is causing the divide? This is all causing a divide. Now, we're talking, and that's because you understand what I'm saying. We're on that level together. So I'm telling you another side of this thing now. One side of this thing is what we've already looked at, but here goes the other side. It is what we all consider an agenda. And the agenda is to divide. The agenda is to make one feel so wounded, and one feels so beaten, and one feels so battered that they've just got to lash out. Well, because their brothers and their sisters have sort of led them in this direction to want to lash out. So somebody's got to understand, when I just snap, I'm letting you know that yes, there is an agenda. But what you've got to realize is, if you are the salt and you are a believer and you are somebody who has arisen and you understand, is that your position is not to put somebody else in a different box. Take your boxes, all 88 of them, and move them out the way. And do your job. Do your gig. Get your head out of the sand. Stop living in the past of the things that hurt you, that harmed you, that you went through, that affected you, and how they made you feel. And realize that the person that's standing in front of you has their life ahead of them. And that you are to sow into them what is true. Don't preach at nobody, or you're going to push them over the edge. Can you just be there for them for a moment? Can you just talk to them? Can you just be normal for a second? Can you just allow your light to so shine? Does your light? Can your light just shine? Do you got to always do that? Can you just shut up for a moment and embrace them with your eyes and listen with your heart? Can you be honest with them and tell them, hey, you know what, brother, sister, I've been where you are. Just to be real with you. I understand. I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Let me ask you, how would you like to see it change? Let's talk about that. What do you think that will make things better for you? Let's get down to the real deal. Be human. You can't preach somebody until they just can't take no doggone more. Shut up already. Dang. Shut up. Did it work for you? Huh? No. Shut up. Because while you're running your mouth, making everybody try to be a carbon copy of your neurotic self, you done lost your mind. Now because you done lost your mind, you out here running everybody else amok. Shut up. You want everybody to be a neurotic, nervous, paranoia like you? That's what we do when we say we in the truth, when we're in the Bible. This is what we do. And this is the reason why we got men out here, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23 years old, making $125,000 a year by themselves in a little bitty small house, and they can't damn take it no more. That's the reason why you got these young cats out here deleting themselves, because they can't take it no more. Wasn't nobody to listen to them when they was little. They went through college, didn't nobody listen to them. They decided they were going to get a job that was going to help them make the money where doggone it, somebody was going to respect them. They got the job, they got the money, and still no respect, no woman, no family. All the family do is, and here you come. Shut up. People are telling you, I'm hurt. When I tell you, looking at this young man the other week broke my heart, I had no clue that this child was feeling like he was feeling. I'm just in the chat cracking and talking and everything. No, knock it off. Do your gig. Do your gig. You here, you went through something, you lived through something, you moved on from something, you graduated from something. Do your gig. The next one is Fathers for Justice. Fathers for Justice, which is a British parental rights group that gained notoriety in the mid-2000s. So we know that this was the mid-2000s. You already know that this was from a while ago, right? That this started, they put the seeds in the ground, y'all, a long time ago. All right? It gained notoriety in the mid-2000s after activists, some dressed as superheroes, scaled public monuments allegedly threatening to kidnap the prime minister's son and defaced a portrait of the queen. Now, here comes the red pill, which is the reason why you see our thumbnail today. This one right here, red pill. In the classic sci-fi film, The Matrix, the hero must choose between swallowing a blue pill, which will allow him to remain in a pleasant illusory world, or a red pill, which will open his eyes to the reality in which he is enslaved. In men's rights parlance, red pillars realize that men, not women, are oppressed. They realize that men, not women, are oppressed. And when you are a person that feels like you are oppressed and you have become the victim, oftentimes your mind will allow you to believe that there is no hope but to lash out because you give up. And when you don't have hope, you give up. Y'all think I'm joking. Y'all think I'm joking. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to look up. Let me look at you guys while I tell you this. What you got to realize is this. This whole situation is a part of destroying humanity. When a woman or a man or a child, a person, feels that they have no hope, they give up and they've got nothing to live for. And when people feel like they don't have nothing to live for, regardless to how much money they made, how many things they've amassed, what financial status they've achieved or attained, or even their popularity, loneliness and brokenheartedness is something that you really can't see on a person's face when you're meeting them in the lunchroom, when you're in the break room, and you guys are passing one another, and he or she is getting their beverage out of the refrigerator. You can't see a broken heart. You can't see it. You can't. And unfortunately, because this has happened for so long, from so long ago, as you see, the top of this talked about the early 2000s. And one of the stories that we were talking about is something from beyond then. Here's the deal. They've been planting for a long time. They've been planting for him to be misunderstood and for her to be misunderstood. And it's so important that we understand what our positioning is and what our positioning is not, who we are and who we're not, what our assignment is and what our assignment is not. We need to understand that. Mike Guyver says, for any relationship to work on this earth, it would have to be under the guidelines of Jesus. So what do we do with the people who don't know Jesus? Do they just drop dead? Do we force them to know who Jesus is in that short span of involvement in their lives that we may have while passing them? When that person looks as if they're going to get in their car and take the ride off, what do we do? How have we attained information? How do we treat a person when we understand? You guys, I know a lot of people seem to feel like, well, you know what? If you're not going to just endorse this one thing, then I don't want to hear it. But here's what I'm here to tell you. You are the only quote unquote Jesus that somebody who may be on their way to delete themselves will see. You may be the only quote unquote God that this person will see, the last person that they might see. So here I am to tell you today, what you got? What you got? How do you handle the situation? What do you do when you're on? You see? We can be keyboard cowboys, but what do you do when you're on? What do you do when it's lights, camera, action, it's your turn? What do you do? Have you had this conversation? Did you know about any of these organizations that are out there to make people feel like they are more victimized? What do you do? How do you handle it? These are the questions that I hope you'll be able to glean answers for. Practice what you are preaching, and let's see how it works. But I'm only here as a messenger to tell you that there is another wave that's coming. One, as you can see, based upon the dates of the programs and all of the little things that I'm showing you here today, that's been brewing for a moment. One that is caused to divide. One that has been created to bring hatred. One that has been created to make a person feel less than. One that has been created to take the strongest of us as it relates to testosterone and put that person in a situation that would make them mocked, laughed at, scorned, and harmed. Now you add all that together, baby, and you got the makings of a monster. So, do what you will. My job was to give you the information because you're going to be faced with this conversation very soon. We'll see. We'll see. Pickup artist is the PUA of self-proclaimed or aspiring alpha males who attempt to seduce women through a system of psychological gambits called the quote-unquote game. Notable PUA figures include Rosh V. Dairesh Valesda, whatever that is, of the Return of the King's website, who has a published collection of sex travel guides, such as the Bang Brazil, in which he writes, poor favela chicks are very easy, but quality is a serious problem. Do you see the salaciousness of these things? It's all dealing with your soulish realm. Every single bit of this is dealing with the soulish realm where your desires and your thirsts are. And that's what makes this so dangerous. And that's what makes this so close to the heart. You know, if I were talking to nothing but a room full of ministers, which you really are, whether you know it or not, you don't have to have the degree like me. You ain't got to be licensed like me. You don't have to be ordained like me. You don't got to be ordained, licensed, or any of that other stuff like my brother Lee. You don't have to be like that. You don't have to be, but you are a minister. You're in a ministry, whether you know it or not. If I were in a room talking to nothing but us, that'd be a whole lot harder than I am right now. Okay, so I hope no one has gotten offended, but I cannot help your feelings because we're all adults here. Okay, this one here is the anti-slut defense. The ASD, tactics that pick-up artists believe women use to dodge responsibility for sex, such as offering a token of resistance or claiming afterward that they were too drunk to say no. Incel This is the one that we are dealing with specifically today. Is a man who is involuntarily celibate and feels that women owe him sex. This right here is the one we just got through talking about. This mass word here, Elliot Rodger. Here's the deal. Who would have ever thought that not giving your body up to someone that you are not committed to in a marriage would be considered a thing? See, back in the day, we used to keep certain things about our existence private. That is how this particular topic has become a thing. Because the things that we used to regard as private, the things that we used to regard as things that had nothing to do with anybody else, are now on public display. But if you're sending your children or grandchildren to the public school system, then this is what you're going to deal with. Unless you've got your children in an incubator where they are not dealing with any outside world, this is what you're going to deal with. For the longest time, we used to celebrate those who decided not to go out and do things, and we knew which ones of our children had experienced things or have not. Okay? But because people now know everybody's business and nothing, not even your medical information, is personal anymore, now you've got individuals, male and female, having to defend their choice to not pass their bodies around like a blunt at Woodstock. Now you've got people who have to absolutely defend themselves because society has told them that it's okay to know a person's personal business. You see, we're not in the world anymore, or even in the belief system anymore, that teaches us about chastity, whether it's men or females. Chastity used to be a thing where girls didn't even want to hang out with a girl who wasn't chaste. Now, this is a different circumstance. So let me ask you something. If you come from an environment that taught chastity and you don't believe in sex before marriage, how do you minister effectively? What's your angle? Type in the chat and tell me an opportunity that you had that was successful, and the person is still living that way today. They had nothing to do with God. They had nothing to do with Yah. They had nothing to do with the Bible. And you met them and you talked to them and they changed their life because of what you said. And they're constantly doing it as a way of life. I want to applaud you for those of you who put it in the chat. And I want to tell you that in this day and age, when they've got TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, teaching them how to do it, when they've got the games that are that are inviting other people into their homes, strangers into their homes by way of the internet, coming right into their bedrooms while you're downstairs or you're across the street because you're the neighbor, you are doing it good. I want to tell you, you're doing your thug thizzle, baby. Because the truth about the matter is we are failing miserably. We are failing miserably. We are alone in our thought process. And I hope that with the antiquated thought processes that we have, we are far removed from helping other humans. Because if we are running around here trying to beat folks into thinking like we used to with our antiquated thought processes and not understanding that you ain't got a heaven or hell to put nobody in, you want to make everybody just like you. If we think that we are helping the circumstance, we are sadly mistaken. Because there are people right outside your door right now that can't breathe because of the stuff that they're going through. This right here, a man who is involuntarily celibate, which means he's not getting any, obviously, because maybe he just doesn't feel like it, or maybe he doesn't feel like, he's met the right woman, or maybe he doesn't feel as if he'll ever be married, and so therefore he doesn't, or maybe no one has taught him how to court, Or maybe no one has taught them how to do anything. This is the cat right here. Maybe no one has taught him that he is valuable just the way he is, that he doesn't have to have sex. Maybe somebody like you needs to just let him know the right lady will come along, and when she does, you'll know who she is, because you and she will get along just fine. You guys will have a lot in common. She'll grow to love your quirkiness, and you will grow to love hers. And you guys can get married and go on and experience one another. Have children and have a good life. Just relax. Don't listen to what these other people are telling you. And a lot of these guys, you can tell the young man, a lot of these guys that are telling you that they got 90 notches on their belt don't even have but one, if that. So don't worry about these other people. You just let folks know that you've just decided not to tell your personal business. How about that? The PUA Hate is a site for those who feel disillusioned by the PUA movement. Roger, who blamed women for his sexual frustration, was a frequenter. Until you give men like Roger the way to have sex, either by encouraging them to learn the game, seek out a Thai wife, or engaged in legal prostitution, it's inevitable for another massacre to occur, closed quote. PUA Hate shut down shortly after Roger's rampage, as it should. Okay? Gamergate, an ongoing conflict that pits traditional video game enthusiasts, mostly white males, against feminists and others who call the game culture to become more inclusive. Misogyny and violent threats are a hallmark of the online controversy. And 4chan, an anonymous and often graphic online forum used by gamesters, according to the date of this article, okay, to strategize about revenge tactics and by hackers who posted stolen nude photos of celebrities, including Jennifer Lawrence. 8chan is an anonymous forum that gamesters started after using 4chan banned their threads. Subreddit, a forum on the social sharing site Reddit, aka the front page of the internet, Gamergaters, PUA followers, and others congregate in dedicated subreddits. Honey Badger Brigade, a group of mostly female supporters of the men's rights movement, its weekly online radio show features such topics as the 13 creepiest feminist behaviors, including humorless art. Okay? Mangina, what some men's rights activists call a man who supports feminism. If you are less than 18 years of age, this is not the show for you today. This is serious, because we really have some serious eye-opening things to do. Now, social justice warrior, or SJW, what MRAs and Gamergaters call someone who advocates equal rights for women and minorities. All of this is the I'm wounded part. But the part that I'm concerned about is the fact that we've got men with testosterone that are wounded and that are walking around with nobody to understand where they're headed. And I hope you guys understand that that means that's not a good combination. Men going their own way is a faction that vows to avoid contact and relationships with women because they think women will inevitably treat them as disposable utilities. How many cats are sitting around alone right now who feel that way? Huh? Lots of them. There's lots of guys out there that feel that way. There are lots of gentlemen out there that feel that way. So we're going to end this today with the one and only Kevin Samuels, rest his soul. Because he did not mean what a lot of the young Black men today thought or think he meant. This is used specifically to review and to have commentary. This is in no way, shape, or form meant to infringe on anyone's copyright. It is within compliance of the copyright laws for published materials. There are links into the description for this man's channel as well as the other channel. This review is simply to talk about these issues today, and I will play the video right now. It is a bit lengthy, but we are going to look at it. What the Lord brings together, let no man asunder, has a new meaning, what the Lord brings together, let no man asunder, has a new meeting today, Mike says. Okay, so let's go on ahead and let's look at this. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Now, here is what he has to say. The title of this video is down below in the description. And it says, Women Aren't the Enemy, Socially Awkward Beta Males and Incels Call-In Show is what this was actually titled. Now, it was January the 30th, 2020. January 30th, 2020. I'm going to say the date again, January 30th, 2020. For those of you who know who this gentleman is, and a lot of my subscribers may not, okay? For those of you who may be watching in the replay, and those of you who may be watching right now who know that who he was, rest his soul, then you will understand that this is not what this gentleman meant with the things that he was saying for women. People have taken what he has said when he only got famous with that maybe a year before he passed. Okay, maybe coming up to a year before he passed, when he sort of got out there with popularity. What he was telling women was specifically that we as women need to be realistic in our dating approach. We need to be realistic when you have 10 kids by, 8 or 9 baby daddies. This was his, and I'm being exaggerated, but this is who and what he was talking about. His mindset said, you know what? He says, listen, Black women, you guys got to wake up. You can't run around here with 5 or 6 different baby daddies. You're overweight. You haven't taken good care of yourself. You're in public housing. You're doing all, and want a man that makes, 6 figures. Why would he want to date you is the question that he would ask women. Tell me, why would a man want you versus a young lady that can be younger, who doesn't have any children, who doesn't have a weight issue, who doesn't have a baby daddy issue, who's young enough to get on his program, that he can become, make her a little more malleable? Why would a gentleman want you versus that young lady? Because you do, unfortunately, bring a lot of baggage. He turned the mirror around on Black women. Now, here's the deal. If you have truly followed this channel for any period of time, and you go back to my old videos, you will see that there are videos where I was talking about this back in 2018, 2019. I was asking those exact same questions. I was actually juxtaposing those questions with things that I had dealt with in my life. He was trying to tell people to be realistic in their approach to dating. He was telling women to be realistic. What's the matter with the plumber? Why do you have to have this, guy like what's on the screen here, making, 6 figures, billionaires or whatever? Honey, if you wasn't with that cat when he was broke, busted, and disgusted, okay, the chances of him choosing you over a younger woman who's fit, who is on his level as far as being compliant with what he needs. He doesn't want your money. He doesn't want any of these things. He wants a young lady who's going to be on his program. So a lot of men right now are taking that mindset in the quote unquote Black manosphere, and they are now twisting this because they don't really understand where he started. Again, this video was dated January 30th, 2020. Again, this video will be used specifically for commentary and review purposes only, and it is listed already down below inside of the production notes. Let's go.
entire game changed. So now people are clowned. I really want to have this conversation. And let me set the groundwork. When the internet came of age with the advent of the smartphone changed the game. In the late 90s, early 2000s, we had access to the internet. It was just an extension of how human beings interacted and communicated. But with the smartphone, the entire game changed. So now people actually have a mobile computer at their fingertips. And one of the biggest things that happened was attention for women and men. Men and women used to have to actually, singles had to actually go out to places to interact. Married people would do married things, but single people had the entire dating economy. Movies, dinner, plays, clubs, nightclubs. There was an entire industry dedicated to singles. But as Match.com, Plenty of Fish, okay, you name it, as people started trying to become more efficient and meet people here, what happens? The average woman is able to go onto these platforms and get hundreds of guys from, regardless if she's interested in that, attention. The dating environment has completely changed as far as attention. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry. Frat Brother talked about Mode 1. He has been talking about no free attention back in the early 90s. But now today, women have access to more free attention than human beings are equipped to deal with. As such, it has become increasingly more difficult for guys who are not alpha males or alpha males with beta traits, shout out to Alan Roger Curry, to actually go out and meet a woman, approach a woman, talk to her, seduce her, romance her, and actually end up having sex and pursuing a romantic relationship. I'll tell you right now, I have never had a problem with getting women, getting the kind of woman I want, getting access to the woman I want. I believe that I can actually talk to most women. That's the kind of confidence I have. I believe that most women find me attractive. That has been my lived experience. And even the women who I might not be their particular thing, I still know that better than 80% of the women out there are going to be interested. That puts me in this category over here. But I also have friends and colleagues that are right there in the middle. And even more so that are extremely unsuccessful. My college best friend, his name was D. D was a good-looking dude, smart engineer. On paper, he had things going for him, but he was socially awkward.
And that's the part that I want to talk about. Those that are socially awkward. And that is the purpose of me talking about this. You know, Mike Garber, I don't know if alcohol is a catalyst to the problem in this situation, because we're talking about just regular folks. Some people drink, some people don't. The one thing that I will say is you don't have to be a drunkard to be socially awkward. And I think that the purpose of this conversation for me today is dual. It's a dual conversation. And the reason why it's a dual conversation is because there's a lot of us who don't know how to help. And there's a lot of us who don't know anything about this topic. You know, there's some people who drink, some people who don't. What I'm saying is these young men are hurting. And I don't give a rip if they drink a gallon of wine or Ripple. I don't care if they drink 12 Budweisers. You know, here's the deal. When a person is lonely, they're going to do a lot of stuff. I'm not here to do that part. My portion of psychology and my portion of that's the reason why I do not minister to or counsel young men. That's not my calling. My calling is not to minister to young men. Even when I have a conversation with a young man, there is another man, either Ronnie, Lee, or my husband, on the phone while I am talking to somebody. So because I don't have a bag to put nobody in. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a bag. I'm not a prude. I don't stick my nose in other people's business. I have been there when people have been throwing up, when they've been so sick, because they've been so drunk, because their wife left them, because their husband left them, because their child just hurt themselves. I have been there during those times. And sometimes I just got to stand there, shut up, wipe the vomit off their face, wipe the tears off their eyes, help them get themselves together, recover them, and shut up. All of this stuff right here is the reason why people are going through what they're going through. Because everybody wants to judge folks. Don't even know how to fish. Couldn't take none of your fishing with me. You all be out there trying to clean the doggone fish before you even get them in the boat. Leave people alone. You got folks dying out here in these streets, hurting themselves because the church wants to be so overly ticky. Pickety, pickety, pick. Pickety, pickety, pick. Just like an old woman. Pick, 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 pick. Leave folk alone. Now, I'm not going to say it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. It has nothing to do with any of that. The fact is that these people have been deceived. Most of y'all don't know how to minister. That's it. Most of y'all don't know how to witness. Y'all ain't been out in the byways. And have you been to the parks? Or is it that you have an issue with the cat that's drunk in the park? First you want to go clean him up. Then you want to tell him that Jesus saves. You want to go clean him up. Oh, he smells. Let me help him with a bath. Then you want to tell him that Jesus saves. You hypocrite. You a hypocrite. That's what you are. Y'all don't understand how that man decided that he was going to go and take. Who you think the Samaritan was? The Samaritan was a cat that everybody would spit at. The Samaritan was somebody that everybody looked down on. But you know your Bible, y'all. He was somebody that everybody would look down on, that people didn't want nothing to do with. And he said, let me get this fella and take him into this house. And hey, here, I'm going to be gone. But while I'm gone, what I need you to do is take care of this man. And when I come back this way here from my journey, anything that's due to you, I'm going to pay you double for this man right here. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to take care of this man when I come back through here. Okay? So take care of him. He's left over here derelict on the road. And the Samaritan is the one that everybody was talking about. They did not like the Samaritan. Who is the Samaritan? He is the one that helped, but they're also the ones that everybody talked about. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. You know what? I just really feel like right now today, we get so caught up. You're going to be asked the question, why didn't you help them? You're so, we're all so ready to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You were so religious that you scared all the fish away. No. What happens when you get asked the question, why didn't you bind that poor soul up first? Let them ask, what's so different about you? You know, a lot of people have come around me and a lot of people have tried to help me, but what nobody is as kind as you. You didn't care that I smelled. You did not care that I was so full of drugs when you saw me. You didn't care that I had committed all these acts and these sins. You didn't care that I was a prostitute. You didn't care that I was a drug addict. You didn't care that I was a thief. You didn't care none of that. You showed me love when nobody else did. You know, I went to churches and people were slamming the doors on me. Why did you love me? Why did you love me? Y'all ain't been hurt yet. Y'all ain't been hurt yet. Y'all ain't been hurt yet. Y'all ain't lived through nothing yet. You almost there. You almost there. You almost there. You got to go through some more pain before you understand to just love people where they are, man. That's your gig. Your gig ain't to try to clean the fish before you get them in the boat. Get them in the boat. You want to impress me? Get them in the boat. Get them while they funky. Bring them in while they got throw up all over them because they've been out drinking all night. Get them when they tweaking, but they want your help. Impress me? Get out there and feed some of them. Impress me? House them. Don't come in here impressing me with your words. Get back. What I'm going to tell you, I won't even hang out with you. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of drunks. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of drunks. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of dope dealers. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of prostitutes than to hang out with the likes of folks who think they're better than everybody else. They got to be your way. They got to talk like you. They got to act like you. All of them fakes. Every single one of them are fakes. Don't cuss, don't smoke, don't drink. What do? You don't do nothing. You do this, you do that. You are so goody two-shoes. You're perfect. Just perfect. Just, oh, I'm perfect. Oh, I'm perfect. Oh, it's just me. I'm just perfect. Well, you know what? You're a perfect hypocrite. You don't know how to love people. You don't know how to care for folks. That's what your gig is. How you going to... Let me take these headphones off. Lord of mercy. Woo! You guys think that it's the possibility that maybe there's so many people out there that are trying to lead the popularity contest that everybody, you know, that's the reason why so many churches are shut down right now, because those all them fakes sitting up in there. That's the reason why all the churches are shut down, never open back up, because there's so many fakes in the house. Fakes. That's why you got the preachers that's sleeping with the kids and preachers that's sleeping with come on now. Y'all wanted to get real with me though, right? Y'all wanted to keep poking the bear till we got real. Well, here we are. Here go real. That's the reason why the church got all of these people sleeping with the children. That's the reason why the pastor can't let go of the armor bearer's wife. That's the reason why the pastor can't let go of the armor bearer. Fakes. They want to tell everybody what thus saith the Lord. Oh, what thus saith the Lord. But ain't nobody living a real life. Ain't nobody out there in the highways and byways. Meanwhile, you got crack addicts sleeping in the back of the church when they close the church down every Sunday. You got the crack addicts and you got the meth heads, and they're all tweaking and walking in front of the church. But you guys creep in with your Bentleys and your cars, and you drive all up and get inside of your little nice little parking spot that's got the little sign, pastor's wife, pastor's aide, bishop. Y'all pull your vehicles all on up in there. You got to tiptoe around all the drug addicts. Ooh, they smell. Won't let them in the church. Daryl, what's good? Won't let them in the church. Y'all won't let them in the church. Make them sit in the back with your Bible thumping selves. You make them sit in the back, but you the Bible thumper. Why he got to sit in the back? I thought your Bible said he wasn't supposed to do that. Thought your Bible said he wasn't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to put him back there. You ain't supposed to put him up under your feet. You're a hypocrite. All the Christians that's running around here talking about, well, the Bible say, you ain't fished. You don't know how to fish. You don't know how to fish. Y'all ain't been fisher. Y'all ain't been no fishers of men. You guys have not been any fishers of men. You guys, I'm going to tell you something. For those who think like that, if you see me, leave me alone. I'll wait for a stranger. Leave me alone. I'll wait for a prostitute. Leave me alone. Hey, I will wait for a dude who just got through drinking. You leave me alone. Leave me be. I will wait for a chick who just got through turning the trick. I'll wait for a chick who just was finished being run a train on, and she got some understanding, and she see that I need some help. I'll wait for her. I'll wait for the backslidden her. I'll wait for the backslidden drug addict before I will deal with a hypocritical Christian. Stay away from me. You ain't lived nothing. You act like you perfect. You stink worse than they do. I said it. Me. Spell my name right. F-E-L-I-C-I-A. Felicia. L-O-C-K-H-A-R-T. Spell it right. Get it right. I said it. Hypocrites. Because this is what's going on right now. You got young men and young women out here who cannot cope. And you got the church that is just as corrupt. Corrupt. Full of hypocrites. Somebody don't like it. Oh, she hurt my feelings. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, Marge, I told you to stop going over there. Can't hang with you. Don't touch me. This man that's on the screen, rest his soul in heaven, he did not mean what the black gentlemen and women right now believe. A lot of people have not really looked at this man. They've not gone any further than the one viral video that he had, and then everything behind that let you understand what he was trying to say. He was not saying any of the things that he was saying. He was saying socially awkward. Beta males and incels. Somebody say, oh, I don't believe in the beta part. Oh, no, what do you mean by beta? What do you mean by alpha? What do you mean by beta? Okay, well, here we go. If you got a bunch of lions, and in the lions, with the lions and that whole pride, you got one dude. Let me take these off so I can tell you how this cat roll. He gonna get as many of them chicks in that pride as he want. He gonna take them all, and he gonna fight every other male to make sure that they understand he that alpha. He gonna say, hey, I'm that dude. I'm that guy. That's the alpha. The other ones, those are the betas. All right? They get paws put on them. They get mitts put on them. That's what they do. They get the mitts. They get the mitts. They get the mitts. They get the mitts. So for those who want to say, well, that's just this and this and that. Don't come to me with no YouTube talking points. Don't come to me with no worldly talking points. I'm trying to tell you guys that there are people out there that need help, that there are people out there that need to be helped. You want to save somebody today? Then let's save them with the truth. Let's give some understanding to what they're going through. If not, move out of the way and let those of us who do this. Move. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Where are my mods? Need you to handle a couple of things. Love you guys. My mods, I need y'all to handle, and I don't care who it is. You need to go ahead on and handle some stuff. Let's go ahead and finish listening to this.
Dude that said smooth, cool, charismatic. So the only way he could end up having sex was pity sex. He'd end up having to look, a woman just basically take pity on him and give him some, or he'd have to resort to prostitutes. This was in the late 80s and 90s. And the reality is this, for today, there are men hiding in plain sight. You might be one of them who are gainfully employed, average to above average looks, on paper, solid, decent citizen. And 60 years ago, these guys would have likely been married. But today, these guys are entering into their 30s, 40s, and approaching their 50s as functioning virgins, meaning the last sexual experience or the only sexual experience they had was back in high school or college. Why? Because high school and college is the last time where men and women are in the same place, same environment, talking about the same things, and they could be beta males and just happen to be in a situation to where you're playing video games or you end up at somebody's dorm room or something, and then you just luck up into sex. These guys never were able to make it happen. It was always the women initiating or basically taking pity on them and giving you some mercy coochie. What happens when these guys are no longer in college or on the dorms? They go out into the world, move into a neighborhood. It's work, home, work, home. There's nowhere to go meet women. There's no way to go sit next to somebody and be the beta male nice guy and then have a woman take, because women got too many options. So here's what we have. We have beta males. We have men who are 40 years old who've had less than 3 sexual partners in their entire lives. Yeah, 40 years old, fewer than 3 sexual partners. I mean, fewer than 3 sexual experiences. 1 to 2 partners, maybe. I know this is going to be, I need you guys to understand, if you are like me, a guy who never had problems with women, I didn't know these guys even existed in these numbers. I mean, I knew my homeboy growing up, but I just thought he was a little strange. All the guys I used to hang around, you know, we could get women. But today, what impact does being, and this is why I want to make the broadcast, women are not the enemy. See, what I'm also starting to see is younger guys in their early 20s seeing the difficulty men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are having, listening to all this content and getting angry with women. Worrying about, you know, I don't want to get with a woman because of family court and child support, da, 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 da. And I ask you, when was the last time you actually approached a woman? Because here's the reality. In corporate America, entry level and lower level supervisory, there is a cap to how high an unmarried man will likely ascend. Beyond entry level or lower supervisory roles, middle management, upper management, executive management, people are married at that level at a rate of about 90%. If you want to move up, you are going to have to get married. Better to be, you can have 10 divorces, it does not matter. But in order to move up, you must be married. It is an unwritten rule, but it is there and it's firm. Men who are unmarried are looked at as unstable. Human beings have evolved to not trust unattached men. And if you think, well, you know, this movement, that movement, all these things are going to change corporate policies, you are sorely mistaken. Jeff Bezos will remarry. And the reality is this. For the rank and file guy, Alpha males, pure alpha males with alpha tendencies are about 5% of all men. 5%. Alan Roger Curry, alpha male strategies. Alan Roger Curry was born an alpha male strategies, became an alpha male. I believe you can actually, I know you can move through these rankings, but 5% are alpha males and want to live life as an alpha male. That means 95% of men want a woman, whether short-term or long-term. 95% of men have evolved to want women. We got to start there. Unmarried professional men are less likely to be promoted to middle class, or middle management, or upper management. Many men today are living life as beta males with beta male traits. Most men who are incels today don't want to be incels. I coach and work with men who are incels, involuntarily celibate. What that means is, I know there's a term for incel. Incels usually are synonymous with virgins. But there's an incel who's had sex, but it's been 1 or 2 times and it was decades ago. What do you do with a late 30s or 40-year-old man who hasn't had sex in 20 years? That guy does not want to be that. Yet he cannot go out and talk to a woman, strike up a conversation, and romance her, seduce her. He has not learned how to be that smooth operator. So that's how these guys end up going year after year after year after year with no woman. I know this is hard for some guys to believe. Trust me, I didn't understand it, but they exist. And they're not weirdos. They're not crazy. What's happening is the environment has changed. Women have access to more attention. They got access to more guys. And these guys are not the best salespeople. They're just not smooth like that. And if you're just not smooth like that, and if you combine that with not going out and combine that with being average or below average looks, how you got too many struggles going on. How you gonna make that happen? If guys like myself, guys like Alpha Male Strategies getting flaked on, what luck do these guys have? And so my goal is to actually, let's talk about it, because there is hope for you guys. But you got to understand where you're at. Today, it's more common for the typical woman to be more sexually experienced, more sexually aggressive, and more dominant. If and when guys like this end up having sex, it's a woman making it happen. I want you to think about the kind of guy I'm talking about.
Listen carefully,
How does a beta
please.
male with low sexual charisma move up in the world?
Now, I want to stop here for a
How does he
second,
get
because the
promoted?
one thing that I want to couple with this now is the immaturity level. Okay? That's the one thing that I want to bring up right this very second. What he just described, I want you to take that description that he just described with a hypersexual individual that we have right now today in the hypersexual arena. Because right now in the United States and parts of the world, especially in North America, there is this drive of hypersexuality. People doing things younger, that when we were younger, we were very timid, very, introverted, where we did not necessarily talk about these types of things. People were doing things, but they didn't talk about them. Now, couple what he just described in the clip that we're looking at, couple that with individuals who are being bombarded with sexuality, with the sexual prowess of others, with the lack of sexuality. These are the things that create desperation in people. These are the things that create that desperate person. And that's what we are talking about today. The purpose for me putting Kevin Samuels on today was the fact that what he is saying and what people who are in the manosphere right now today are doing, thinking that they're thinking that he meant something totally different. This is what he really means. And what I'm telling you guys is that the issues that he's talking about are real, that the circumstances that we've described at the top of this program are real. The videos that we watched with the young man who went out and committed those atrocities against people, those things are real. They are real. Okay? All right? So that's what I want you to listen to, is the fact that now we're dealing with what he's talking about, but now we're dealing with young guys between, 18 and 21 who are making a lot of money, and they're still not able to do those things, irregardless to whether or not that's what they, whether or not you believe in premarital sex. This is what the deal is. And if you want to help save some of them, listen to what he's telling us. Let's go.
How do other people feel about him in ways that they won't describe? You didn't know they existed either. Well, see, the thing is, women really can't understand this because women, you have a vagina. Someone will use it. I am talking about men who I've seen face to face, who I know are solid dudes, who are suffering in silence because they want nothing more. They just want one woman. They just want access to one. And I feel sorry for these guys because the longer this goes on.
And I am an Incel. I wonder why my success rate as a salesperson is greatly affected, or the fact I can't relate to other married men.
Let's talk about it, David, because the reality is this: the longer this goes on, these guys are going to reach late middle age, and they're going to be ripe to be taken advantage of. Kevin Samuels has been married twice, and if I wanted to, I could be married by the end of the year. See, that's the thing. I'm not against getting married. I'm not. I just know one thing, knowing what I know now, I pick better. See, that's the difference. Why are middle management and upper management guys, why don't they have the problems a lot of the guys in the manospheres have? They know all the same things. It's because they understand the value of being married. If you want to be taken seriously as a man, an older man, you have to be married. There's nothing worse than being an old playboy trying to move up in the company. It's pathetic. And the reality for me is if I wanted to be married, I could be married by wintertime. From full stop. I could go out there in the world.
Rest his soul. He passed away in May.
Beautiful, inspirational woman to get on my program and who would love to be my wife. I know that.
No worries, Marty.
Now, if I know I could go find a wife, I want you to think about the difference between the confidence and the self-esteem that I have versus a guy who can't even get a date. Talking about men who cannot approach a woman to get a date. 3 strikes and out and married. See, that's another thing. I'm going to say about black men. Only black men look at marriage this way. Black men look at marriage as a failure. Your president has been divorced 4 times. They don't sweat it. I don't look at the way Black America looks at stuff. No, look in Hollywood. How many times do you see Tom Likas married 4 times? You look at people. I know guys who have been married 5 times. And they're looking for their next wife. Again, what do they know that you don't know? And instead of worrying about what could happen, what the reality is this.
What about those of us that require diversity? I found marriage and one woman to be incredibly boring. I might remarry when older, but I'm only 32.
There you go, you're 32. What's going to happen when you're 50? How much pussy do you need, man?
This is an adult show. If you are less than
because here's what needs to
21,
happen.
please
I
get
can
off this
guarantee you
line.
this.
This is for adults.
Most
We
of
are
you
dealing
guys
with
will
adult
never get to my
circumstances and
numbers as far as
situations with
sexual
adult
partners.
words. So don't
I've
be
had
over here
sex
if you
with
less than
hundreds
18,
of
21
women.
years old.
Hundreds. And I'm talking about guys who have a problem having sex with one. In one semester in college, I had sex with 38 women. 38 in one semester. And I still lost the contest. The guy who won the contest had 45. And it was a known contest. We wanted to see who could get laid the most in one semester.
And you and I both know, all of us know that was the thing back in his age and my age. He and I are in the same age category, rest his soul. Okay, he just died this past May. That was the thing. Okay, back in those days, that was the thing. And that is the reason why you hear me telling you that the things that these young men are going through right now, back then that was the thing. And right now, they are more hyper-sexualized than ever. Do you even realize what's going on with the teenagers and the young men in college right now? Especially for those who have been taught not to go out and do these things. Yes, Michael Paul, he did. Yes, he did. We lost a good one with him. I mean, to tell you the honest truth, we lost a good one with him. Okay? All right? And what I'm trying to say, that was for broadcasting, that was for the YT. You know what I mean? Because they are, so, they want to take our youth, our young kids, right? But what they don't want to do is they don't want any of us to talk to them and teach them. And I know by teaching this and talking about this, that it does put you on a specific target sheet, but I don't care, because there are too many young people that are out here right now that are hurting, and they're hurting in silence. And then those who are not hurting in silence are hurting others. Why? Because hurt people hurt people. Okay. All right. Let's look at some of these comments here. Sorry, Felicia, but you have any idea? I'm sorry, Felicia, but you have any idea how many young people under 21 and 18 who are trying to deal with all of this? A lot. Too many. And it's the church's fault. And I put the blame squarely on the shoulders of the church, because a lot of the church is just totally got their head in the sand. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Broadcasting, I'm with you 110%. All right. This is factual. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back and listen to him. But I just want to let y'all know that when you hear what he is saying, please don't be coming over here tripping like y'all ain't never heard no cuss words. That's what I'm going to say. Listen to what this dude is saying so that you guys can take this information to the youth that you will see in the next 90 days, that you see that need your help. Older men, I'm giving you some equipment. Okay, Alan, hey, how you doing? All right. All right. You see what Alan says? This is what we're talking about right here. But you see, there are a lot of gentlemen, like the video that we said in the very beginning, that were showing you exemplifying signs of being awkward. And a lot of the girls were feeling like, well, I don't necessarily want to date him. I don't want to deal with this, but, he's nice, but And then what did he do? He flipped. So please continue to listen to what this gentleman is saying. Okay. All right. And let's go. Again, his name is Kevin Samuels,
Ali,
and his link is down below in the description. We're using this simply to have commentary.
Topped this out with 45. Ali came in with 42. I came in with 38. Considering that I was a transfer and I'd only been in the area for 3 months, I think I did pretty damn well. Have you had sex with 38 women in one semester? And understand something. I don't deal with ugly women. I've never slept with a fat chick, an ugly chick. I got standards. I've never messed around with a vampire. Any woman I've ever been with could run up on me in public and start screaming and hollering, and you'd be like, ooh, yeah, never. So I don't understand this. Every guy's slept with a mud duck. No, he ain't. I don't have to. I wish Alan was here.
Marriage and monogamy.
I wish Alan was here. She straight up. I come from the days where Kappa's Pretty Boys, we got the best. I got the best of the best. Let me tell you, man. Look, and there was a time where they call in, David, because I would say a lot of you incels are entitled. You're entitled and you think you should get more than you're worth. And especially when it hits millennial. Incel and millennial is synonymous. I don't know any incel. Very rare do I find incels in Generation X. There are some. But here you go. Don't ask questions. Let's talk about it, because again, when I coach with men, I work with men who have gone from incel to relationship, gone from incel to wife, beautiful wife on top of that, and this dude's a little bitty, fat, pudgy ginger. See, I laid the groundwork on why it's difficult, but there have always been beta males. There have always been socially awkward dudes. What are you gonna do about it? Johnny Blaze, what do you got? Oh, Sebastian Williams. You nobody wants to hear what Sebastian Williams has to say, right? This is the same guy that was on last night complaining about the white man. Everybody, let's look. Everybody go to. Hold on, Johnny. Hold on. Let's go to Sebastian's page. Sebastian is the guy who told everybody that they need to stop being wimps, take care of the kids, and compete. This is the guy who says he needs to compete, but he's not competitive. But then I go to his page, and I got Overwatch, and I got warning 16 plus. What kind of freaky shit are you looking at, Sebastian? Let's look.
But hey, you know what? I appreciate everything that you do. I think you give a really good message to professional men. And I think when you did your professional piece the other night about the whole dreads and whatnot, I went back and I watched the original stream with Steve the Dean and O'Shea, and I listened to your stuff. And everybody who, well, not say everybody, a lot of folks who got on who.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave it
Zoom
here.
room. I thought you were doing something.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave this here because we're coming up on my 2-hour mark. Here's what I want to say. Sometimes as we are dealing with topics and situations like this, we have to learn how to compartmentalize things. If you are a believer and you have to minister to one of these young men or young women who have been beat up by society for whatever the reason, and you find yourself in a situation where you've got to talk to them, please do me a big favor. Just talk to the person and let Christ, the hope of glory, show through you. Let your light so shine, and let the truth shine through you. Please do not attempt to clean the fish before you ever get them in the boat. Each and every video that we use today is down below in the description. Each and every link to every story is down below in the description. All the production notes are already laid out. And I think that it's unfortunate that we have to, Mike Guyver, leave your channel down below so that people can follow your channel. And here's what I want to say. Please stop being so heavenly minded that you are absolutely no earthly good. If people are so heavenly minded that they are absolutely no good, then you need to just shut up. just be quiet, because you are a train wreck and you are preventing the wounded from getting helped. You're preventing the wounded from getting healed. You're stopping the wounded from becoming whole because you are judgmental and because all you want to do is quote scriptures at people. And people who are dying don't give a rip about a scripture. They only give a rip about the person who's helping them. Try this. Help them, bind them up, get them well. Then let them ask. Let them ask. Let them ask. The topic today is dealing with the manosphere and how it is leading men into a very dangerous place. How it is leading some young men to hate women. How it is leading some young men to want to physically harm women. I think that a lot of times, since people have relationships or, get involved in Christianity and all this other stuff, you get involved in all of these things, but you have no idea how to deal with people. You have no idea how to love on folks and how to help people. You just sit down, please, please. Because what I'm describing and what is going on right now in the earlier videos that you just saw today, hey, King BJ, all that other stuff that you just got through seeing today, that's not for people. I don't need you to try to help any of those folks. Leave those people alone. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. We are in a very, very, very precarious situation. It's amazing to me. Let me go ahead on and read some of your comments so that we can get out of here. I want everybody to feel like they're supposed to feel. But I want to tell you guys, we are in a very bad situation. This is like the B team. You guys, you got the B team, or you got the you got the B team. You got the varsity team from the other team. And those cats are some jokers that ain't no joke. Those cats can play. Those cats know what they're supposed to do. Then you get F Troop that wants to come out and try to talk to them. You get F Troop that want to come out and try to help them. You get one good army that's on this team, then you get F Troop over here. And F Troop don't know how to win souls. They don't know how to help people. They don't understand about the world that's out here today. And the reason why the world is going the direction that it's going is because those who claim to be the body, y'all so off target. You could not, it's, oh boy. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments. Let me read some of your comments. I just, wow. Shanine says, exactly. Church has gotten away from reality. Put pastors know how to con, but the pastors know how to con and brainwash people for profit and not help them. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. KL, the one who made you, loves you, says Council of Nicaea, spelling problems took away the full gospels. You have seen and researched and pray when reading and learning from the books like Enoch. Maureen says, this is why I'm not in a relationship. I would rather be single than to be in a relationship with men that think like these men. Broadcasting says they do more harm than they do any good at all. The church is often useless in these situations, Broadcasting said. Michael Paul said that I'm happy and fortunate to be married. Thank you, Lord. Christian B says, yes, I see that in society. I have 4 grown kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. Girls are married and struggling. Youngest married, an atheist, sadly. So do you understand that it's those individuals that we are to speak to? Just what Christian just described. Those are the individuals that we are to talk to. So you cannot come to a person who might need help. For example, say it's an atheist. Huh? Say this person doesn't believe in God at all. And yet, what he's doing is he's telling you, hey, I can't stand ladies. I don't like any of these women anymore. They're mean and they're this and they're that, and I'm going to exact my revenge on them for not wanting to date me. Are you going to talk to that atheist? Not necessarily you, Christian. I'm just using the atheist piece as an example. Are you going to try to preach Jesus to the atheist? Because at that point, all y'all going to be doing is arguing. You're not going to be ministering or helping that person. You're not going to talk from the portion of your brain that has common sense that can deal with this individual on their level. Because that's the inevitable goal, is to win that person, prevent that person from hurting themselves or somebody else. But it's to talk to that person on their level. You know how to talk to people on their level? Or is every conversation that they have biblical and they don't know nothing about no Bible? But if you're trying to save this person's life or prevent them from doing something they shouldn't do, how are you going to talk to them? You need to learn to agree with your adversaries quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a scripture. Learn to agree with your adversaries quickly that you might win some. What are you talking about? No, Mike. Love you, sister. When I get beat up by society, I am reminded by Jesus that if they hated you, they hated me first. Thank you, Jesus. Reward you for this. Spelling mistakes. Okay. No worries. Paul lived with people to show them Jesus. Let's talk about Jesus. Why do we always deal with Paul and all the ancillary cats? Why don't we just deal with Yahushua? Let's go toe to toe with that. Let's live like he lived, because he hung out with prostitutes, Mary Magdalene, tax collectors, publicans, thieves. Let's deal with Jesus. Don't tell me about no half-breed. Let's talk about that Hebrew. Let's talk about Yahushua. Tell me, what did he say? What did he do? How did he live? The only people he preached at when they get to that you did this, you did that type stuff was them cats that thought they was religious, that they were so perfect. We want to stay away from him though, right? Yeah, we clearing the house now. We got the publisher's clearinghouse going on now. We want to talk about everybody else but Yahushua. But when you look at what Yahushua said, better known as what you all say Jesus, when you really look at what he was teaching, he wasn't teaching none of this cattywampus stuff. He hung out with prostitutes. Him and Mary Magdalene was hanging out. Those was buddies. He hung out with tax collectors, the worst of the worst. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Yeah, the word came from the Father, but why y'all always pull out Paul? Y'all ain't ready. Y'all are not ready for me. Y'all ain't ready for this. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. But I'm going to give it to you. From here on out, I'm going to give it to you. So if you come around here, please understand, it's time for playing is over. The time for playing is over. It's time for you to get right. If you're going to win some souls, then you need to understand. Quit running around here with the religiosity of men. Don't tell me nothing that Paul say. If you can't quote what y'all say, then don't tell me nothing that Paul said. I want to tell each and every one of you guys that I appreciate you for hanging out with me for the last 2 hours and 4 minutes. I want you guys to remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart group publications, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of yourselves, and until we see one another again, please continue to be blessed. Thank you for being here. Please make sure that you hit the like button or the dislike button. Please make sure that you are still subscribed to this channel. Share it out if you can, because somebody out there has a son or a daughter, especially a son, who considers himself an incel and he's about to hurt somebody. That's why this is an urgent call from my heart, because there's somebody here to know, and they're about to try to hurt somebody. Okay? So you guys take care of one another, and please continue to be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.